Welcome. Please.
There is actually a little reason why Jan and I swapped slots on the agenda. Because as you see on the agenda there, it was me, and then it was me again, and then it was Jan. But there's a little reason that I wanted Jan to do his presentation first and ask for input, and then I don't even have slides. I just wanted to tell my experience after talk what the issues are at the moment, after doing a lot of IPv6 training courses and running into a lot of the same questions. And every time we do a training course, there are always 2 or 3 people in the room that say, my CEO wants to know what it would cost to do IPv6. That's always the same, what would it cost? And I thought, okay, maybe then we should do a document with economists, and is my mic still? Yeah. Economists and people who have more an idea about money. And then I talked to some other people with an MBA and stuff, and they said, well, you need to know what the cost driver is for IPv6. You need to know where the money goes in an IPv6 deployment, because then you can find out how much money and what a deployment would cost. So that was a valid point, so I went asking every person who did an IPv6 deployment around me, where did the money go for your IPv6 deployment? And they all said the same thing. Access providers, content providers, CDNs, all of them said it went into the man hours of our developers to adjust and write new code, because we have a lot of IPv4 literals, we have a lot of IPv4 related code. We have billing software, we've got internal, external software, etc., etc. So then I thought, okay, if that's where the money goes, then maybe we should develop something and start talking to these developers, because apparently the ISPs now have the sense of matter to do IPv6. Well, according to Jeff, not too many yet, but still, I hope a lot of them are cooking in their network kitchens. But indeed, after talking to a lot of people, I'm not sure if the IPv6 is the sense of IPv6 is very much aware in the developer area. So maybe we should put some time and effort in there, and I would like to know what you think about that. That was it.
Okay, Benedict Stockebrand again. The situation is worse. From what I've seen with one customer, you start thinking about IPv6 and you've got like 6,000 software packages you're using, and it took me a couple of days to sort these through. That's bad. And then there's the in-house development software. And there are a number of things can happen. They've been using the wrong programming language, and you have to fix all sorts of stuff to support IPv6, and then decide, okay, the COBOL we use doesn't support IPv6 at all, so we have to switch to Fortran, or whatever. And I've seen at least one case where they've been using Java, which you have to fix to support IPv6 Java programs, but they've been using a library for all their network access. And the question was, does this library support v6 or not? Fortunately it did, but that was never a reason why they picked that library. So the question, is this a major effort? We have to rewrite lots of our software, or does it just work? Is largely a matter of luck, of sheer luck of picking the right libraries, the right languages, whatever. And that what makes, from what I've seen in an enterprise kind of context, just figuring these things out and figuring out how much of an effort it is, about half of the work of deploying v6. It can be quite easy, and it can be many years and many years of fixing your software. But it's completely unpredictable. So that's what's really scaring managers. If you can't tell them right before, this is going to take that long, it's going to cost that much, I need these resources, and you just tell them, I need, 2 or 3 man-years to figure out, that scares them.
Wilhelm Böddinghaus. When I talk to my enterprise customers, I tell them I have no idea how much it costs, because I have seen databases who have IPv4 addresses as database index. That might mean complete redesign of the database. But I start with telling them, hey, start saving money today. Because all new software that is developed has to be IPv6 ready. So go to your legal department and make sure that in all contracts you have from today, IPv6 is in there. And make sure that you can test the software that the software development company, maybe internally, maybe externally, is delivering to you. And this makes sense to most of them. They say, okay, saving money from today, yeah, well, it's a good idea. Will be a hard job to go to legal and explain them what IPv6 is. But yes, we start. And then you have an evolution of software. You turn down old software, you have new software, and this makes it less hard to do the transition, because in your development cycle, you can fix a few of those problems. But saving money is something every institution, every organization wants to do, so they are going to listen to you. You don't tell them how much they have to spend.
Yeah, I agree, but the software, that part, the purchasing part, is basically already in RIPE 554 for software as well. I'm more thinking in how can we help the coders there with their software and IPv6. But I see your point there with the cost issue, with the saving money.
For the coders, I don't know what we can do for them, really. We have to educate them, but we have to educate them in networking, and then we can educate them in IPv6. This should be a second step. What I recommend is that companies have to build a test lab anyway. So invite the developers in this test lab. Make it feasible for them to do some testing. And if a developer comes to you and says, I want to test IPv6, and you have to say, well, go away, I have no place where you can test it, then you are lost.
Thank you. More thoughts on this? Experiences?
It's really hard to be almost the last topic on the agenda, but I still... Yes, thank you very much. So we have almost no slides for the last part, yeah, because it is supposed to be open mic discussion, which we have started already. Yeah, I have just obligatory graphs with 7%, which Jeff doesn't like. It's okay. Probably it's not 7. Probably it's 3. I just like the form of the graph, yeah. Even if you don't put numbers, it still looks nice. And it's totally, okay, it's a map which you could not see with country for European countries, right? For showing some deployments. I mean, because